The invitation came on a Tuesday night, right when I was washing one coffee mug in my kitchen sink. One mug. That was the kind of detail that stayed with me after Kira left. I used to wash 2 mugs every morning. Mine was black. Hers was white with a tiny gold moon painted near the handle. She said it made cheap coffee feel expensive. After she moved out, I kept reaching for that second mug without thinking. For weeks, my hand would stop in midair. That night, my phone buzzed on the counter. I dried my fingers on my shirt and looked down. Kira. For a second, my chest tightened so hard, I almost laughed at myself. It had been 4 months since she walked out of our apartment with 3 suitcases, my good umbrella, and the calm face of someone who had already practiced the breakup in the mirror. Her message was short. I know this might be awkward, but I'd really like you to come to my engagement party. I think it would be mature if you came. No bad feelings. Closure would be healthy for both of us. I stood there staring at the screen while water dripped from the mug into the sink. Engagement party. 4 months. Not even half a year. My thumb hovered over delete. My body knew what my mind was still catching up to. My shoulders were already tight. My stomach had already dropped. I could almost hear her voice reading the message out loud, soft and sweet, with that tiny edge underneath. Mature. That was always her favorite word when she wanted me to swallow something sharp. Be mature when she forgot to pay me back. Be mature when she flirted too hard at parties. Be mature when she told people I was still finding myself, even though I had been working overtime to keep her business alive. Be mature when she cried on my couch and said she just needed 1 more month before she could pay back the money from my mother's savings. My mother had died 2 years before that. She did not leave me much. She left me enough to breathe, enough to fix my car, enough to keep a little space between me and disaster. Kira knew that. She knew because I had told her while she held my hand at the bank. She cried harder than I did that day. 6 months later, she used that money to cover her debts. At least, that was what she told me. Business debts, emergency payments, a supplier threatening to sue, a lease problem, a tax issue. Every crisis had a new name but the same ending. I paid. I always paid. Because I loved her, and because she had a way of making love feel like a test, I kept failing. I did not answer the invitation that night. I put my phone face down and finished washing the mug, but I could not sleep. I lay in bed, looking at the ceiling fan turning slowly above me. Every few minutes, my mind played a different version of the party. Kira smiling beside a man with clean shoes and calm eyes. Kira telling people I was happy for her. Kira using me like a decoration, proof that she had moved up. By 3 a.m, I got out of bed and opened the bottom drawer of my desk. The envelope was still there. Plain, white, sealed. I had not touched it in weeks. I made it during the worst month of my life, not because I planned some dramatic revenge, but because I was afraid I would forget the truth. Kira had a talent for changing stories while you were still standing inside them. By the time she finished talking, you started questioning your own memory. So I saved things. Bank transfers. Screenshots. Emails. A signed repayment agreement she once wrote herself because she needed money fast and promised she would make it official, so I felt safe. Voice notes, too. That was the part that still made my skin feel cold. One night, after she left, I found an old phone recording I had made by accident. I had been recording notes for work, left the app running, and walked into the kitchen. Kira was in the living room talking to her friend on speaker. I heard myself in the background, opening the fridge. I heard Kira laugh. Then I heard her say, clear as glass, I'm only staying until Owen makes it official. Once I have the ring, I'm gone. Owen. That was the fiancé. Back then, he was just a client, a restaurant investor, a man who knew people, a man Kira said could help her expand. She told me I was being insecure when I asked why his name kept lighting up her phone at midnight. She kissed my cheek and said, you always think small when you're scared. I stared at the envelope in my drawer until the sun came through the blinds. By morning, I replied. I'll be there. The party was on a Saturday evening at a rooftop lounge downtown, the kind of place where the lighting made everyone look richer than they were. I wore my only navy suit. It was not new, but it fit. I checked myself in the mirror before leaving and tried to decide what I looked like. Not happy. Not strong. But present. The envelope sat inside my jacket pocket, pressed against my ribs like a second heartbeat. On the ride over, I told myself I was not going to use it. I was only bringing it because I knew Kira. I knew how she worked a room. I knew how fast she could turn me into a joke if she thought I came empty-handed. Still, when I reached the building, my feet slowed. Through the glass doors, I could see gold balloons near the elevator. Someone had tied white ribbons around fake olive branches. A sign said, Kira and Owen. The ampersand looked expensive. I almost turned around. For a moment, I saw my own reflection in the glass. Tired eyes, tight jaw. A man still letting a woman who left him decide whether he was allowed to stand up straight. So I went in. The elevator doors opened onto music, laughter, and the soft clink of glasses. The rooftop had string lights hanging above the bar. The city spread out behind everyone like a painted backdrop. Kira saw me before I saw her. She was wearing a cream-colored dress that made her look like she had floated in from a magazine. Her hair was pinned up, with loose pieces framing her face. Her smile hit me from across the room. Wide. Bright. Wrong. She walked over with both arms open. There you are, she said, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. I'm so glad you came. She hugged me before I could answer. Her perfume hit me first. Same one. Jasmine, and something sweet. For 1 second, my body remembered things my mind hated. Then her lips came close to my ear. Please don't make this awkward, she whispered. Her nails pressed into my shoulder. I pulled back. I wasn't planning to. Her eyes moved over my suit, my shoes, my empty hands. She smiled again. Good. Then she turned me toward the crowd. This is my ex, she said to a group near the bar, like she was introducing an old couch she had finally replaced. He was a big part of my journey. Journey. I felt the word land in my mouth like dust. A woman with silver earrings smiled too hard. A man holding champagne nodded like he already knew a sad story about me. Kira touched my arm. He's sweet, she said. Very emotional, always was. A small laugh moved through the group. Not huge, not cruel yet. Just enough. I felt heat crawl up my neck. Owen appeared a few minutes later. He was not what I expected. I wanted him to look smug. I wanted him to have the kind of face that made hate easy. But he looked calm, polite, nervous even. He shook my hand with both of his. I appreciate you coming, he said. I know this can't be simple. His voice was real. That made everything worse. Because I saw it right away. He believed her. He believed whatever version of me Kira had handed him. Maybe I was the bitter ex. Maybe I was the sad helper. Maybe I was the man who held her back until she found someone better. I wanted to tell him everything right there. Instead, I said, Congratulations. Kira slid her hand through his arm. Owen has been amazing, she said. He really showed me what support feels like. My fingers twitched near my jacket pocket. Support. She knew exactly what she was doing. For the next half hour, I tried to stay quiet. I stood near the edge of conversations. I drank water because I did not trust myself with alcohol. Every few minutes, someone would glance at me with soft curiosity, like they were waiting for me to fall apart. Kira kept circling back. At first, her comments came dressed as jokes. You remember how he used to make spreadsheets for everything? She said to one group. Even date nights. It was cute, in a tragic way. People laughed. I smiled with my lips closed. Later, near the food table, she said, he was always very careful with money, which is good. Some people need to be. More laughter. My ears rang. I looked at the elevator doors. I could leave. Nobody would stop me. Kira would get what she wanted, of course. By Monday, the story would be that I came, got uncomfortable, and ran away because I could not handle her happiness. But at least I would be gone. Then she tapped her glass with a fork. The whole rooftop softened into attention. Owen stood beside her, smiling. His hand rested near her waist. The ring on his finger caught the string lights. I had not noticed it before. A simple engagement band. Kira lifted her glass. "I just want to thank everyone for being here," she began. "This night means so much to us." Her voice had that perfect public tremble, the one she used when she wanted people to think she was humble. "I've learned so much about love," she said. "I've learned that love is not just about staying. It's about growing. It's about standards. It's about choosing someone who can meet you where you are." Her eyes found me. My breath stopped. "Some people come into your life to teach you patience," she said. The room got still in that hungry way people do when they sense gossip. Kira smiled. "Others teach you what you deserve." A few guests laughed softly. Owen looked uncomfortable, but he did not stop her. She kept going. "I used to think I had to shrink myself to make someone else feel big," she said. "But Owen showed me I never had to beg for support. Real support doesn't come with resentment. Real love doesn't keep receipts." The last word hit so hard my hand closed into a fist. Receipts. She had taken my money, taken my sleep, taken my mother's savings, taken years of my life, and stood there in a cream dress telling people I was the one who kept score. I felt something inside me go quiet. Not calm. Quiet. Like a door closing. Kira lifted her glass higher. "So tonight, I want to thank everyone who helped me become the woman I am now, even the people who couldn't come with me." Her smile sharpened. "Some men teach you patience. Others teach you standards." This time the laughter was louder. A man near the bar covered his mouth. One of Kira's friends looked right at me while she laughed. I could feel my face burning. My throat tightened so badly I had to swallow twice. For one last second, I thought about letting it go. I thought about being mature. Then I thought about my mother's account balance dropping to almost nothing while Kira cried into my shirt and promised me I was saving our future. I stepped forward. The laughter faded in layers. Kira saw me move, and her smile froze. "Please," she said lightly, still performing for the crowd, "no speeches from the past tonight." I did not look at her. I walked straight to Owen. He blinked, surprised. I reached into my jacket and pulled out the envelope. My hand was shaking, but my voice was not. "You should read this before you give your speech." The rooftop went so quiet I could hear ice shift in someone's glass. Owen looked at the envelope. Kira laughed once. It was too quick, too sharp. "Oh my God," she said. "Is this a letter? That's actually so sad." No one laughed this time. Owen took the envelope. Kira's eyes flashed. "Owen," she said, lower now. "Don't. He's doing this for attention." Owen looked at me. "What is it?" "The part of the story she left out." Kira stepped closer. "This is exactly what I warned you about," she said. "He gets dramatic. He twists things. He has always been obsessed with making me feel guilty." I finally looked at her. For months I had imagined this moment. I thought I would feel rage. I thought I would want to shout. But seeing panic under her perfect makeup gave me no joy. It only made me tired. "Owen can decide that after he reads it," I said. Owen opened the envelope. The first paper was a bank transfer record. His eyebrows pulled together. Kira exhaled hard. "Seriously?" she said. "Old money stuff?" Owen kept reading. There were 5 transfers on the first page. 3 to her business account, 2 directly to vendors. Dates, amounts, notes. Emergency lease payment. Supplier balance. Payroll shortfall. Owen looked at her. "You told me you funded the first expansion yourself." Kira smiled, but her mouth looked stiff. "I did, mostly. He helped a little because he insisted. He liked feeling needed." My stomach turned. Owen flipped to the next page. More transfers. His face changed. Not anger yet. Confusion. That was the first crack. A murmur moved through the guests. Someone whispered, "What is going on?" Kira reached for the papers. "Let's not do this here," she said. Owen turned his shoulder away. It was a small movement, but everyone saw it. Kira saw it too. Her smile vanished. He reached the screenshots next. I knew the exact moment he understood because his jaw tightened. The messages were between Kira and Owen from months before she left me. Cute jokes. Late night plans. Lines about how she wished things were less complicated. One message from her said, "I'm still at his place, but emotionally, I'm already gone. Just give me time." Owen's hand dropped slightly. He looked at Kira. "You said you were separated." Kira's face flushed. "We were basically separated." I laughed once under my breath. I could not help it. She turned on me. "Don't you dare." I said nothing. Owen kept reading. The room felt smaller now. The music still played through the speakers, soft and cheerful, completely wrong for what was happening. A server near the bar stood frozen with a tray of tiny desserts. Kira moved closer to Owen. "Baby?" she whispered, but the whole rooftop heard it. "This is not what it looks like. He saved everything because he wanted control." Owen did not answer. He found the printed photo of the repayment agreement. Kira's signature sat at the bottom. Her promise to repay the money from my mother's savings by a certain date. Her note in the margin. "I know this was your mom's money. I swear I'll make it right." Owen stared at that line for a long time. Long enough for Kira's breathing to change. He looked at me. "Your mother's savings?" My throat tightened. She passed 2 years before that. Kira said she needed the money for a business emergency. Owen looked back at the paper. "She told me those debts were paid from investor funds." "They were paid from me." Kira's mother made a sound from somewhere behind her. Small, hurt, embarrassed. "Kira," she whispered. Kira spun around. "Mom, don't start. You don't understand." That was when I saw the first guest lower her phone. Not because the moment stopped being interesting. Because it had stopped being funny. Kira's friends were not laughing anymore. The same woman who had smiled at me like I was a charity case now stared at the floor. Kira grabbed at Owen's arm. "Can we please talk privately?" Owen pulled away. "Is it true?" She blinked fast. "It's complicated." "No," he said. His voice was quiet, but it cut through everything. "Is it true?" Kira looked at me with pure hate. "This is what you wanted?" she asked. "To ruin my life because I left you?" I felt every eye turn toward me. Months ago, that would have crushed me. I would have rushed to explain. I would have tried to prove I was not cruel, not bitter, not small. This time, I just breathed. "You invited me," I said. "You handed me the role. I just brought the script you forgot I had." Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. Owen reached into the envelope again and pulled out the small flash drive taped to the back page. "What's this?" Kira went pale. I said, "Voice notes." "No," she snapped. "Absolutely not." That one word told him more than any speech could have. Owen looked around until someone handed him a phone with an adapter. I did not know whose it was. Some guest moved like they were afraid not to help. The first voice note played through the phone speaker. Kira's voice filled the rooftop. Clear. Relaxed. Cruel. "I'm only staying until Owen makes it official. Once I have the ring, I'm gone." The silence after it was different from the silence before. Before, people were curious. Now they were ashamed. Kira stood completely still. For a second, nobody moved. The city hummed below us. A car horn sounded far away. Someone's champagne glass trembled against a table. Owen stared at her like he was seeing a stranger wearing a familiar face. "You used me too," he said. Kira shook her head. No, I loved you." He looked at the ring on his finger. My chest tightened. I did not need him to do anything. Not for me. The truth was already out. The laughter was dead. The version of me she built had cracked open in front of everyone. But still, the whole rooftop seemed to hold its breath. Kira stepped toward him. "Owen, please, don't let him do this to us." He looked up. "He didn't do this." Her eyes filled with tears so fast I almost believed them. Almost. "I made mistakes," she whispered. "But people make mistakes when they're scared." Owen asked one question. "Was any of it untrue?" Kira's lips parted. She looked at the envelope. At the papers. At me. At the guests. Her silence answered for her. Owen lowered his hand to the ring. The scrape of metal against skin was tiny. Still, I heard it. Everyone heard it. He pulled the ring off slowly, not in anger. Not with a dramatic throw. He simply removed it like he was taking off something that no longer belonged to him. Kira made a soft, broken sound. Owen. He placed the ring on the nearest table right beside the envelope. I'm not marrying a story you made up, he said. Then he walked away. No yelling. No slammed glass. No final insult. Just his back moving through the crowd while people stepped aside. That was what destroyed her. Because Kira knew how to fight noise. She knew how to cry over shouting. She knew how to twist anger into proof that she was the victim. But quiet truth gave her nothing to grab. She turned to me next. Her face changed so fast it scared me. The tears vanished. Her mouth tightened. You're proud of yourself? She hissed. I looked at the ring on the table, then at the envelope, then at the woman I had once planned a life with. No, I said, I'm free. I left before she could answer. The elevator ride down felt unreal. My hands started shaking as soon as the doors closed. I pressed them flat against my thighs and stared at my reflection in the metal wall. I did not look powerful. I looked pale, exhausted. But I could breathe. Outside, the night air hit my face, cool and sharp. I walked half a block before my phone began buzzing. Kira. Then a number I did not know. Then another. Messages came in so fast the screen kept lighting up in my hand. How could you do that to her? I'm sorry we laughed. We didn't know. Please call me. You ruined everything. Did she really take your mom's money? I stopped under a streetlight and blocked Kira first. My thumb hovered over her name for a second. 7 years sat behind that name. Rent payments, grocery lists, birthday trips, hospital waiting rooms, fights in parked cars, her head on my chest, my mother's money leaving my account, me apologizing for being hurt. I blocked her. The screen went still. I walked home without ordering a ride. My dress shoes hurt by the 10th minute, but I kept walking. Every step made the night feel more real. When I reached my apartment, the kitchen was dark. One mug sat upside down by the sink. I took off my jacket and reached into the pocket out of habit. Empty. The envelope was gone. For months, it had felt like a weight, like proof I had to carry because no one would believe me without it. Now it was sitting on a rooftop table beside a ring that would never become a wedding band. I made coffee even though it was late. I used the black mug. Just one. For the first time since Kira left, that did not feel like loss. It felt like space. Sometimes the best revenge is not shouting louder. It is standing still, showing the truth, and letting the people who laughed too soon finally understand what they were laughing at. If this story hit you, like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, would you have handed over the envelope or walked away?